How would I sum up an SK? Transcendent.
My friends and family definitely think I'm a bit crazy and strange. Challenging yourself in a wild environment where you're guaranteed to face hardship is not everyone's cup of tea.
Day 3.
The Tararua SK Traverse, it's about 80 k's long and has the same vertical climb as climbing Mount Everest, twice from base camp. Half of the route is not on a marked trail, and the terrain is wild and rough. Making it the ultimate physical challenge in the home of New Zealand tramping. You're unlikely to read or hear about the SK. You have to go deep into the tramping or mountain running community, where you'll find characters like Tim Sutton. Tim was the first person to win a pretend reserved space in the dusty road end car park of glory.
Got an email from Chris Martin saying, "Here's your next challenge, mate." I managed to get my hands on a copy of the SK book.
I read it from cover to cover and then read it from cover to cover again.
Right back in the early days of the SK, I think the challenge was to complete it in a weekend. Endeavour to be back in the office on Monday morning in whatever shape the range had spat you out in.
I didn't know about the history of the route at that stage. I just knew I loved being a part of this crazy adventure with this guy, Chris Swallow, and his mate Lawrence, because none of my mates were doing something that epic.
I read Chris Swallow's report in the paper, and I knew Colin Rolfe. Then I was reading about Tim Sutton. Yeah, he really inspired me. The fire was lit. Just thought, oh, yeah, that looks really, really cool. You know, when someone says something to you and it just gels with you and just go, yep, I want to do that. Looks really scary, but yeah, that sounds cool. That's your first reaction rather than going, oh, nah, don't like that. As simple as that, really.
Would you like to run part of the SK? Every year, the Tararua Mountain Race races the historic tramping route, the Southern Crossing, with the support of Landsar. The Tararua Mountain Race provides a 20% chance of sun, a 10% chance of no wind, and a 100% chance of blood, sweat and tears. Visit tmr.org.nz for more information. I read Chris, Jean's and Tim's reports one summer. They blew my mind. I couldn't believe there was this wild adventure on my doorstep. Within 12 months, I'd failed on my first attempt with a sprained ankle. I hobbled for 8 hours to the closest road end where my wife and father-in-law collected me. We drove home on a perfectly clear night while my mates pushed hard and made it to the car park of glory. One of the incredible experiences making this film was chatting with the early successors on the route. Hearing the stories from Dave Capper, Graham Dingle, and Gary Goldsworthy showed me where the spirit of the SK had come from. This story about Graham Dingle gives an insight into the competitive passion of the early years.
Graham Dingle, we hated because he ran it in 18 hours, very shortly afterwards. But he cheated because he had Hutt Valley Tramping Club members putting caches in all over the place, and he didn't carry anything.
People that didn't really know the lay of the land said, oh, but Dingle's done it in 18 hours. But Dingle did the Dingle route.
I was quite taken with it. It made it sound really epic, you know, sort of hallucinating and falling over and bloody seeing monsters and stuff. I thought, yeah, it must be something else.
When I look back, I had expected it to sort of stretch me to the absolute limit, but it didn't. I arrived at Smith's Creek feeling quite fresh. Had a beer, went to sleep.
Now recording.
Okay.
The red lights,
so
red lights flashing.
3 beeps and it's on.
Tim, Joe and I set out on our weekend SK challenge to capture footage for the film, 60 years after the first success. Right, let's go.
Just getting close to the top of the climb, to the spur leading up to Hirapai Hut. It's actually stirring up a lot of emotions in me. Didn't think this would. Hopefully something to show my daughter and any grandkids that may come along.
At our first hut, Dundas, where Tim and Joe had to share a bunk, we met Megan, the editor of the SK book.
We were talking to Megan, it was like, so how many SKs have you done, Megan? Thinking, you know, author of the book, she must have done 1 million of them. She's like, well, actually, when I was involved in editing the book, I decided that everyone was crazy, and why would they want to do it?
Joe has done more SKs than anyone I know. This was number 11, and he is planning 1 a month this year. Joe is the SK community guide, always helping others to complete the challenge.
The email came through from you, Andy, saying, you know, proposing the idea of the trip. There's just no way that I'm going to miss out on doing this.
It's a pretty special country. Decided to bivvy up underneath those somewhere last night and had bailed due to really grubby weather. We arrived at the hut and there were 6 sets of boots. Knew it was a 6 bunker. Me and Joe top and tailed on a top bunk. Andy borrowed an airbed. When I woke up in the morning there were 3 people on the floor. Megan Setti getting in at about 11 o'clock on her weekend SK.
The SK has an amazing depth to its history, which has been preserved through the efforts of trip reports, the SK book, and more recently, the SK website and award events.
But the beauty of the SK is you're just a page in history. You're joining this sort of long history of the route and of all of the people who've had the adventures there as well.
Well, it was the early 60s when it was done, and it was pretty well broadcast around that people in each tramping club were trying to do it. All 4 tramping clubs. we'd meet them in the railway station, and they would lie. They'd say that they were going to a salute trip in the Tararua.
Have you been on, or are you planning a big adventure? Our short film service, Short Films Big Adventures, will turn your once-in-a-lifetime bucket list adventure into a stunning, interesting film that you can share and enjoy with family and friends forever. Visit shortfilmsbigadventures.com to find out more. Colin Rolfe is one of the true legends of the SK, the first person to break the 24-hour barrier.
We didn't know anything about the route, but we just knew that this fella called Colin Rolfe had done it. I never met the guy, but you know, I knew he was 12 foot tall and had tree trunk sized legs and all the rest of it. Number one was that before your attempt, you went up with a set of shears and chopped back the leatherwood in certain areas of the route. False. All right, you sold your bed to buy some running shoes.
I didn't have to be.
Is it because you own shoes instead? I heard a rumour that your house burned down and you had a Powell Hut sub 1 hour club cap adorned with brass plaques for making it to the hut in an hour. That's the only thing you saved. This is one of my favourites. You regularly ran from your house in Kapiti across the Tararuas to your mum's house in the Wairarapa, mowed the lawns, ran back across the Tararuas and got to the pub for closing time. Not true?
What are you about?
And there was a guy, Hutt Valley tramper called Gary Goldsworthy, who I sort of got my inspiration from. He refused to run, apparently, and he pretty much tramped it in 25.5 hours. And I thought, you silly bugger, you just run a little bit here and there and you can do it.
I remember dropping off Hell's Gate and into the saddle, then climbing up the other side to Omega, and I just kind of stopped. My legs kind of stopped working going up there. I thought, what the hell's going on, you know? All of a sudden, I just felt really bloody tired, you know, and I realised I bloody hit the wall. And from that point on, it was a real bloody struggle going in that Marchment Bridge, I tell you. I just got to keep on going, because I know if I sit down and close my eyes, I'll just bloody go to sleep straight away.
A year later, on my second attempt, we started at night and got lost in the clag. We had a scary cold night, being hissed at by possums. The sun finally rose and cooked us. By Mangahuka, I had completely lost the mental will to continue pushing through the hardship. We phoned JD, the local helicopter pilot, to drop us to the road end. The SK has a cult-like feel to it. How could people experience such discomfort, yet come out the other side raving about how it made them feel?
Getting stoked for this.
Takes me back to being 5 years old, and it's the day before Christmas, you know. The next morning you're going to wake up and go into this environment that you love and cherish and enjoy, and have another adventure.
I was a great fan of Leo Holding, who says most people in life are happy being in a comfy chair with the heater turned up. He says everything these days is so safe, sanitised and boring that there's some people, myself included, that want more of a challenge out of life. The excitement that you get when you're packing your gear and what you'll need begins straight away, and you feel like a little boy again. You know, it makes you feel alive.
It's a case of no matter what's going on in my life or in my head or anything, as soon as I get up onto the range, you can't be upset or angry or anything up there. It's just amazing knowing that you're out there adventuring in the wilderness, and it kind of feels like that's what life should be.
Solitude, like a blood moon, red moon, just silent. That's what draws me there, just the beauty of it. And it's just really good fun. And if the weather's really nice, I just love being out there.
The Tararua Range has horrible weather. Every year it has 160 days of gale force winds, 200 days of rain, and is a magnet for clag, cold, wet mist. Perfect for growing goblin forests, where every surface is covered with lichens and mosses of endless variety. Clag is also perfect for chilling you to the bone. A combination of steep terrain, dense bush, difficult river crossings, and changeable winter weather has caused 22 tramping deaths in the Tararua Range since 1970.
Yeah, and then we just decided to go for it, even though the forecast wasn't very good. And I'd never do that again. Gale force winds, it was clag. I got bluffed out, went the wrong way, couldn't see what I was doing, dropped my phone. I was really scared. I remember leaving Kime Hut in the dark, and it was just, you know, windy, rainy, and so now if I'm going on my own, I make sure I've got helicopter weather. It's much more enjoyable.
It was a storm that you would have never seen the likes of. The rain was lashing at Kime, at the windows. This is crazy. How did it become like this when it was beautiful last night? There's no point of all of us dying.
The SK burns calories, 15,000 of them. That's the same as 144 gels or 56 Big Macs. The problem is most people can only absorb 6,000 calories in 24 hours. Danny Garrett consumed 40 gels. That's a kilo of sugar. He got the runs a couple of days afterwards. His doctor said it might have been giardia from a stream. I'm not sure he told the doctor he'd consumed 40 gels in 18 hours. Pizza, burgers, cold sausages, salty crisps, sweet tea, salt and caffeine tablets are staples for the SK. Sam Hainsby left his famous wraps in the car and survived his SK on 4 Mars bars and a gel. Less calories than your body needs on a normal day.
Food I took was muesli bars and pre-cooked sausages. I made me some Miro bars. The water, just kind of relied on the water at the huts. Really drink out of towns. Plastic water bottle, nothing like a Camelback.
Chris Swallow was doing a solo supported attempt. He was so far ahead of schedule, he beat Al Shelton to the food drop. So he seasoned some lukewarm hut canola oil with salt and pepper and put it in his gel bottle. It was so disgusting. He would squirt this on the back of his throat, swallow fast, fight the urge to vomit, then try to take the taste away with a nibble of a Snickers bar. I thought the mountain running community would be full of egos and single-minded individuals.
Oh, it's awesome. It's such a good community. I didn't expect it to be so good and to, you know, just be able to come along and have chats with anyone so easily, and everyone's just so willing to share their adventures or advice, and it's just really encouraging. There's absolutely no ego around it. It's just, you know, a cool group of people that love adventuring.
Adventurous at heart, mountaineers, ultra runners, people that love the wilderness.
It's all about the glory. Complete one of the 3 routes in one push. Buy yourself a t-shirt and get an invite to the awards event. Complete the main range SK in under 24 hours and join the exclusive main range club. Do all 3 routes in under 24 hours and win a pretend space in the dusty road end car park of glory. Do 2 SKs back to back, or the 1500s, and get a koru engraved on the Patu Paerehe Award.
The Patu Paerehe were mythical Māori mountain spirits. I I've carved a koru in for each recipient. We lost our friend Swallow. He has inspired so many of us to challenge ourselves, to push further, faster, higher. We've got a swallow on the shaft. This is actually the same design that he wore on his motorbike jacket.
Chris Swallow, he wanted to set the route, set the challenge, and he wanted to encourage others to take that challenge, and he was there all the way to encourage anyone with the logistics or help. And that ethos, is, I feel, is going strong. Without a hero or a benchmark set, people won't attempt something that they consider beyond them.
My second failure really hurt. I wanted to complete the route so badly. The self-doubt had built after 2 failures. Maybe it was time to move on. Over the next year, the pain faded, and reading David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, gave me the motivation to try again. 4 years after being captured by the SK, I completed the route and had my moment in the dusty road-end car park of glory.
Wow. Wow. It was a life changer for me. It puts you in your own head for a long period of time. It's also the test that it gives you. It's a journey. You learn so much about yourself. It takes you to a next level, which is hard to find in normal day-to-day life.
The thing that I'll really treasure from this one is camaraderie that has developed and been shared. The shared moments of pure stoke. Time to finish it.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low,
Yes!
sweet
There, boys, he's flying and coming in hot.
coming for to carry me home.
Fellas.
Fellas.
Awesome.
A weekend SK.
Weekend SK.
Yeah.
60 years.
Traditional drinkers are out.
Awesome. Yes. Oh. Thank you, fellas.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Swing low. Sweet chariot,
I almost became a mud monster.
coming for to carry.
So what's your next adventure? Thanks for watching our film. You can buy the full version with no promotional messages at tararuask.com. Please click the subscribe and like buttons so we can bring you more awesome films.